Welcome to Outside Views, and today we're entering the wild, wonderful world of Pentagon group chats. Yeah, group chats. Because when you think national security, you obviously think signal threats with your wife, your brother, and your lawyer. And this is not satire. This is the actual US Department of Defense in 2025. And Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, you know, the guy whose resume reads like Fox News first, details later, is one again in hot encryption water. After the last chat scandal, where he and several top officials accidentally added a journalist to their secret plans to bomb Yemen's signal group, well, you'd think he would have learned. Maybe considered, not using Signal to share military strike plans like it's your cousin's barbecue invite. But no, instead he created a new group, a fresh Signal chat. This one with a dozen of his closest confidants, his wife, his brother, his lawyer. Because when planning military operations, it's important to loop in your family, of course. Why bother with secured briefing rooms when you've got read receipts and emoji reactions? And according to the New York Times, Hegseth shared essentially the same strike plans in this private circle as he did with cabinet-level officials. That's right, identical plans. Same day, different audience. And here's the kicker. His wife isn't even employed at the Pentagon. She is a journalist. Because nothing screams classified clearance like someone who used to work at Fox News. And his brother and lawyer? They do work at the Pentagon, so technically only partly insane. Honestly, at this point it's hard to tell where the national security stops and the family group chats begin. And now the Pentagon has, shocker, not responded to media inquiries. Why would they? Damage control is difficult when your defense secretary is apparently multitasking between planning airstrikes and forwarding memes. And remember the first scandal? Where Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, and Vice President J.D. Vance were all exchanging strike plans in a Signal chat? And accidentally invited Jeffrey Goldberg? No, not just any guy. No, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. That's like inviting a food critic to your secret recipe exchange and acting surprised when it shows up in tomorrow's paper. Goldberg ended up publishing the transcripts, which, just to be clear, contained actual targeting plans for Houthi positions in Yemen. And things that are supposed to be under the strictest levels of military secrecy. Things that might, say, endanger the lives of American troops. But Pete wasn't done. Because apparently, if you're going to fumble national security once, why not make it a sequel? And just to add some garnish to this absurdist feast, multiple senior Pentagon officials have now been fired, including Hegseth's chief of staff, his deputy, and 2 senior advisors, all accused of leaking classified info. Which is rich, considering the man at the top is out there running his own private info buffet via chat apps. And former Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh called it what it is. She said, "It's ironic that people are getting fired for leaking secrets, while the secretary himself refuses to even answer questions before Congress." And she's right. There's nothing normal about any of this, except the dysfunction. And that part's become standard. Inside the Pentagon, sources are calling it a meltdown, an institutional nervous breakdown with chain of command chaos. Politico quoted a senior defense official saying, "Pete Hegseth has surrounded himself with people who don't have his best interests at heart." Honestly, maybe they just didn't want to be part of the next group chat. And of course, former President and actual President Donald Trump has chimed in, because nothing says national security scandal like Trump shouting "witch hunt" on social media. And apparently, sharing operational military plans with your wife and brother is now just misunderstood patriotism. And you know what's wild? This isn't even about ideology anymore. It's about basic competence. The kind of baseline professionalism we expect from the guy who controls the world's largest military. And maybe, just maybe, not texting classified war plans to your inner circle like it's fantasy football. But the problem here is deeper than one guy and a signal addiction. This is about how broken the culture of accountability has become. You've got a defense secretary refusing to testify. You've got internal leaks, firings, media exposés. And the only reason we know about any of this is because someone accidentally invited a journalist to the wrong group chat. If that's how easy it is to penetrate US defense strategy, if that's the current vetting process, did we check if the name Jeff was our guy? Then we have a bigger problem than Yemen. Then we've got a leadership in the USA with a leadership vacuum, wrapped in a group chat meltdown. But where do we go from here? Well, maybe start by treating national security like national security, not a family newsletter. Maybe log out of Signal for a bit. Maybe read the words classified information and not immediately think forward to mom. Because this isn't just embarrassing. It's dangerous. It puts lives at risk. It undermines allies. And it shows the world that America's military secrets can be leaked with a swipe and a typo. So thanks for watching Outside Views, where we read the news so you don't have to lose sleep wondering if World War III started in a group chat. Subscribe, stay skeptical, and whatever you do, don't join any Signal group titled Important Plans.